Hello everyone. We are here for another interview with Harun Korkmaz, and he was the volunteer as a candidate. And as it is usual in TechBuddy, we can say as a playlist, we are now making some mock interviews. This is probably the ninth candidate. We've done 8 already. Some of those were in Turkish, some of those were in English, and this request was coming from Harun himself, as he wanted to be interviewed as in English language. So I was also intending to it, and so now we are here. I'm just going to make an announcement in Turkish, just for Discord channel. Right now we are on Discord. If you are watching this video online on YouTube, you can make sure that it's not online. So we've recorded it already. It is live. It is on live on our Discord channel, though. If you wanted to join our Discord channel to catch up those sort of events, you can use the link below in the description. I'm just going to make an announcement in Turkish, and I will just continue in English as well for the rest of the interview. So you can skip this part. Herkese merhabalar. TechBuddy ailesine bir interview kanalı, bir interview videosu ile birlikte karşınızdayız. Tekrar hoş geldiniz TechBuddy'ye. Çok küçük bir hatırlatma yapmak istiyorum. Bu tarz mülakatların veya bu başka kanaldaki diğer içeriklerin devam etmesini istiyorsanız kanala abone olabilirsiniz. Bu video hakkında şimdi birkaç tane soru soracağız burada Harun ile birlikte ilerlerken. Soruların bazıları hard skill'ler, bazıları soft skill'ler içeriyor olacak. Bir tane de kodlama sorumuz olacak elbette. Siz bu sonuna kadar izlerseniz eğer tabii ki feedback bölümünü vesairesini de göreceksiniz. Ama ben soruyu sorduktan sonra videoyu durdurup kendi çözümünüzü yapıp onu da kodlarını isterseniz veya GitHub repository'sini videonun altında yorumlar bölümünde paylaşabilirsiniz. Paylaşın hatta. Videoyu da beğenip paylaşırsanız özellikle kanala abone olduktan sonra müteşekkir oluruz. İngilizce tarafa geçiyorum. Devam ediyoruz. Hello, we are back and we are now having Harun himself over here as a candidate. What we are going to do is it is going to be a junior C# mock interview. It is mock interview. I'm going to be pretending like I need someone and Harun just apply for this job, and I'm now taking his skills, just checking his skills, if he's able to work with us, if we are able to work with him, if we are able to be a good job provider, supportive for him. As well as we are just going to check his coding skills with another C# coding. I'm not going to call it challenge, but it's a question, just a question. It's not going to be difficult. It's not going to be too long if I start. And now let's start the mock interview. Hello, Harun. Welcome.
Oh, hello.
How are you today? Thank you very well. Thank you for asking. How are you? How was your day?
I'm doing good too. Thank you.
So now, Harun, we've just got your resume and I had the chance to review it. I must say that I'm impressed with what you have done already and what you are trying to do. You are doing some voluntary jobs and you are just working. I'm just going to let you to introduce yourself, but I believe you just graduated from electronic and communication.
Yes.
All right.
I'm not yet graduated, but I will be graduated in 6 months.
All right.
But this year was my senior year.
All right, perfect. So would you just introduce yourself to us so we can know who Harun is and what he does?
My name is Harun, everyone. Thanks for having me in this interview, Salim. I am studying at Kocaeli University in electronics and communication engineering, and I'm working in backend development team in Time Info right now. And it has been almost 2 years since I started working as a backend developer in Time Info. I also like to do scuba diving, playing tennis as a hobby. So what else? I love developing software tools. It's fun.
What have you done so far in development?
I developed. I've been in two big projects for me as a junior developer. In my first job experience, I was working for a small company that named Diginova. I was working for a kiosk project. After working for them about a year, I changed my workplace to InTime Info. I worked with C Sharp, .NET Core. We are working with developing a real estate product named Divisa. And I am in the backend development team. We are developing ASP.NET Core MVC and API project for the Divisa.
Is it the
And
first? Is it the first company that you started coding with C sharp? It's because in
no,
have you used the C sharp
Diginova.
as well in Diginova?
I used mainly Python and Linux for the project because we were working with embedded hardware named Raspberry Pi. You may have heard it
Yeah,
before, which I think England people developed the Raspberry Pi, I believe, which you live in.
I don't know about
I
this.
guess. Yeah. So it's a great uh, hardware tool that you can do a kiosk project. And I used Python for backend services.
So I see that it is related to the field that you're studying on, so electronic and communication. So I see some electronics over there. And
Mhm.
when you are working with electronics, did you used to use another tool than Python, just like C++, or just low level programming? Especially to C, I believe it is known as most commonly used
Yeah.
ones for communication to the hardware and software between.
For embedded software development, people use lots of low-level programming like C and C++. For C++ is more likely new language than C. It has more features compared to C. But I use mainly Python because it's really fast for development and more friendly for beginners like me. It has been almost 3 years since I started that kiosk project in Diginova. But also I use shell scripting, which I done first there. I also Python and C++. I used C++ for the uh, driver for a what is that oil sensor. So German company gave us a library for C++, and we had to use C++ for a kiosk project, which mainly consists about measuring the oil quality for the company, which it was going to use for. It has been using in company for them. So we did about. We only worked in the software side as a Diginova, and there was another company that were working the hardware side. We were using GPS, lots of different sensors, and we were networking over the GSM. So we were only developing the software side, and I was in backend,
All right.
and I was dealing with embedded stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So being in backend side and also working with some sort of hardware must be difficult too. I've never done that. Let's talk about the in-time info. So you were doing some backend jobs over there using ASP.NET Core, MVP, and Web API as well as, and also utilize Redis for cache mechanism and Jenkins for deployment in projects. What exactly have you done in this company? You don't have to mention the specific project, but within that project, what were you doing?
Um, First, when I got into the in-time info, they said they were using .NET Core for backend side, and they were working with JavaScript for the front end. And I wanted to move forward for my career in backend, so I had to use .NET Core, and I learned .NET Core. .NET Core was really easy for me because I was working with C++ and Python in Linux, so it was really hard to debug it. It was slow. There was no IDE. I was using text editor, which VS Code is not text editor just only nowadays, but I was working with VS Code, lots of terminal UI. So it was kind of easy for me to move to the .NET Core for backend tool.
It is Linux compatible. It is easy to debug as it has a
Yeah.
valid ID as well.
Yeah, there are lots of advantages of using Windows and IDE like Visual Studio. I think it's great for developing backend for all the platforms now. Since 2000, I believe 2014, .NET moved to the cross-platform thing for community, and I think it's great. I used to work in Linux for backend. Also, let me get it done. You asked, what did you do? What did you learn in time? I learned .NET Core, Web API, not dealing with embedded stuff anymore. More likely learning how OOP works, design patterns, and also if you're done with learning .NET Core, you need to learn lots of libraries like Automapper, Plant Validation Library, Hangfire, JobQ, tools, RabbitMQ.
Yeah, most of
Lots
those
of
are.
libraries. You need to learn them, and you need to be fluent if you want to be senior, I guess. And if you want to be a cloud developer, or if you want to learn more cloud, which I was working with Linux, so I feel like I'm more familiar with them, because they use Linux also. So I want to learn. Then I learned. Company was working with Jenkins, which CI/CD tool, which I'm not professional at it, but
No one is professional at Jenkins. No worries. It's very complicated and skilled tool. All right. So let's talk about on Azure side. What have you done in your Azure adventure?
Yeah. In Azure, I have still have $150 credits because
For
I'm in
free.
Microsoft Learn organization program. So they gave me free credits to learn and promote to Azure tools like Azure VM. There are over 200 services in Azure, and also there is a Kanban which my team is using now. We moved to Azure DevOps from what was it?
Jira?
Atlassian, Jira. Yeah. Now we are using Azure, and in my free time I used Azure VM, DNS domain service, DNS domain service in Azure.
For what did you need to use the Azure window? I mean, the virtual services, Windows. Virtual machines, though. So why exactly did you need that? So didn't you find the specific services on Azure that you require? Let's say now you have a virtual machine over there and you install the SQL Server on it, and also you install the IS on it, and you are working with some .NET API project. Is it something like that? It's because those are already our services, SaaS services, PaaS services on Azure that they can provide you. Why did you specifically need that virtual machines?
So, as I was saying, I was working with Linux machine already for 1 year, and I was just moved to the Windows, operating system. But I wanted to learn more, tools that works in Linux. So, first thing I wanted to do is how to publish your web server, right? Basically, backend. If you are working in backend, you are developing a server program. So a server program can run in any operating system, which .NET Core is a platform service program. So I knew that I can run this in Linux machine. So, and I had Azure credits, so I can rent a virtual machine and publish there, because I knew the network programming back then, which back then I didn't know about web services. I was working with services like TCP server, UDP server, more low level stuff. So I knew that if I can publish my AT port to the internet, which websites works.
So you were not, you were not specifically looking for the web project or deployment itself, but you were looking for something even low leveler, so you can just test it.
Yeah.
You always can test it in your local machine, but if you have a free credit provided
you can use the virtual machines.
Yeah, it's because virtual machines are expensive toys on Azure, and
Yes.
Azure itself doesn't want you to use it. It's because now they are they have now managed services. Like, if you're just gonna use the IS only, you wouldn't need that. It's because they have now got application, web application or application sort of features. It's good. And what have you done with? By the way, so you're using Azure DevOps in your company.
Yeah.
And do you also use it in your personal project? It's because you said you have got virtual services, virtual machines, and you are also trying to deploy something on it. How do you do it? How do you do the CI/CD pipelines? How do you deploy it? Do you do it manually?
In the first stages, of course, I didn't install the Jenkins directly for my web project. Of course, I built from terminal and run it after a couple of months and getting familiar with web service. I installed Jenkins, which is in Linux. It's very easy. Sudo apt install Jenkins, and it will run very easily. So I installed it. I looked for the Jenkins configurations. I tried to learn it, and I did a couple of configurations, but they're kind of hard. And this is the thing that you do in your spare time. So I didn't learn quite well. If you ask me now, if you show me a configuration, probably I cannot write, but I can read it probably, because people use lots of shell programming, so I can read it probably. I use Jenkins in my web server, but I don't have much experience.
As it is free, you could also use Azure DevOps itself for your personal project, and you can integrate it with your Azure account, which is also free. Azure DevOps is also free. So I'm not saying you should just stop using Jenkins, but if it is really difficult to get used to it, you can just use the Azure DevOps services. So you also mentioned that you utilize that Redis cache for
I used Redis
projects. How did you implement it, and why did you use it first?
First of all, we use caching for slow services, like getting lots of products from database. You are going to fetch lots of data from server over and over again. If there are 1,000 users in your client that asking for a same variables, not variables, data, for example, you can cache them in other place. It can be data storage or a database, other database that can store the same data. It can have a unique ID, and if you already fetch that and store it in other database, you can fetch the same thing. And for that case, you are going to only fetch once, and you are going to get the same data.
But the newer database should be faster than the other database, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
because you are going to only get it.
It wouldn't mean anything. It's because you're getting the same data from, let's say, PostgreSQL and put again to SQL Server, and for the next time you're reading it from the SQL Server.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it the only reason? So you want your API to be fast, and is it the only reason that you use the cache? What about the data is changing? So you cache the data, but it keeps changing in the database. What do you do in that?
Let's say it's going to be changing. My senior team lead said, I said to him, there is an update method in Redis. You can call the Redis service that update that data in the database. But he said just delete it and put it in a new one because it's going to be much faster if you want to update it. They said something technical about it.
Depends.
He just said delete it for now and put it the new one. I don't know the technical side of it, which I am. It has been only 2 months that I put it to the code to Divisa, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, depends what you store and how you store and what to update. Let's say, for example, it is a collection. If it is a list, you can basically add any item into list. It would really be faster than deleting everything and inserting again. Depends how you use the Redis store, actually.
Okay, I see. Yeah, it depends. As I move forward in my career, maybe I see the new cases.
Maybe you should. Yeah, maybe you should. And how often or when do you evict the data or delete the data from your cache? How often do you do that? When you decide that, okay, this data needs to be updated right now?
Yeah, let's say there are 10 products in the list and you cached it already. And if you update the one item, we delete all the list and we wait for the new customer to fetch the data and store it. So for updating, if you update the item in the list, in admin side, for example, if admin updates a product, which in the list of 10, we delete all the row and we put the new one in the cache. No, we don't put user fetch the
in the get method you're just putting the data into it. And
exactly.
is it the same, not updating, but for inserting new data or deleting one data? Let's say we have got 10 products on Redis cache, and someone is just added called create product, and you've created a new one. In the database we have got 11, but cache still says 10. What do you do in that case?
If you add, update, or delete, we delete the cache and we put the new one, actually.
So from these 3 functions, update, create, delete, insert, whatever it is, you are calling the cache evict function, delete cache or whatever it is. All right. Okay, now I'm just going to send you a link of a GitHub repository where you can find your question. I'm also sharing with the Discord guys as well. And can you open the link and share your screen, please?
Actually. The code looks like hard, but I hope I can handle it.
It's gonna be easy, no worry.
I will share the whole screen. Is it okay?
That's okay. It doesn't matter.
I couldn't find the.
Can you just zoom it in a bit so we can see the whole screen? Yep. All right. So there are a couple of cache eviction functions. So eviction means clearing the cache data. So I was asking you, when you clear your data, when you evict your data in Redis, and you said, okay, once we install when we insert anything, delete anything, or update anything, we are deleting it. And when someone just needs to get the whole data, we just go to database, bring everything and put it into cache. For the next call, it will be cached again until we again change the data. You might also use time to leave. So I don't know, maybe it can live
exactly for daily basis
for 1 hour over there. But you also may want to set a capacity in your Redis. Let's say you got hundreds of thousands of products, but you don't want to use your Redis cache for all your products. Maybe you want to store, I don't know, top 10 of your products. Maybe your cache capacity is 100,000 only or 1,000 only. So when you add new data into your cache, if your capacity is just full up, you need to clear something. So you need to evict some of your data. Let's say we've got cache in Redis and we can only use it for 10 data, right? So products, stocks, items, or something, it doesn't matter. Let's make it 2. So we've got product list, we've got price list, and also we've got user list, right? So this is 3. But I'm saying my cache, my Redis cache, can only have 2 keys. So I'm just going to use it for user or product only, or product and stock only, or stock and user only. So the third one cannot go in. If it needs to go there, if I need to cache something, I need to remove, I need to evict one of those I already have in my cache, right? So this is called eviction functions. We have got a couple of, and the most famous one is LRU. If you go up, you would just see the explanation. Least recently used cache implementation.
Okay.
Which says whichever I didn't use recently can just be removed. So I will now add something to it. So let's say user called get user list, and you get the database, put all the users with one key, let's say users key, and the data is user list. You put it into cache, Redis. And the user also called all the products, and you brought all the product from database and put it into cache with products. So now you have 2 items in your cache, right? Users and products. And another user is just, I don't know, calling the function, give me all the prices. So you need to store that data in your Redis, but it is already filled up. It is full of data. You need to delete one of those. You need to decide which one to delete from cache. So least recently used, least recently used says, okay, whichever calls the earliest can go. Whichever used the last can stay over here. If you go down, if you just go down a bit, okay, yeah. Can you zoom it a bit for? Yeah. So cache put data, for example, the first line. We are now adding a data. It is 1. It is only, in this example, it is only accepting integer key, integer value. So when you use 1, 1, it is adding it to it. And if you call 2, 2, it is also adding it. But our capacity is 2. Now I am getting 1. Right? So I'm using the data from cache. It is recently used now. I'm calling it. And then try to put 3. So whenever I try to put 3, it will check, okay, I've reached my capacity. It's because I can only have 2 different keys, but you are now adding the third one. So I need to remove one of those. It needs to check which one is not used recently. I get 1. On the third line, I get 1, so it is recently used, but I didn't call the second one. I never called it. So it is wasting my memory in Redis. So whenever I try to put 3, it needs to remove the second one, the 2 one. It's because I didn't use it, right? So
which 3. One are you saying?
Yeah, this one. When I call this one, when I call this one, the 2 will be evicted from the database. It's because I didn't use it.
Right? Okay.
So now I added the third one, and I got second. So I'm now calling cache get 2, but as it is not over there, it is evicted. So it returns -1.
Okay.
And then I'm done. And then I'm trying to add 4. It needs to remove one of those. Which one it will be removing?
Okay.
So it is removing 1. And then you get 1, 3, 4.
2 plus 2. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
What did you say last?
Sorry.
I couldn't hear you. The thing that you last said.
So I'm saying whenever you try to add something new, if it reached the capacity, you need to remove one of those
Yeah. Okay.
by just checking if it is recently used or not. The capacity
Okay.
is passing as a constructor parameter, and you need to add two different functions, get and put. And in program CS, you can find those bits of codes and you can copy paste if you like. Yep.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where it is.
Okay. Let me delete this.
All right.
Okay. I feel like I know the problem about this question. I feel like this question is or queue or stack question. The problem is what item we are going to remove from the list. So there is capacity of 2, and if you put first 1 and we put 2 and other the next one is 3, right? So
Yeah.
we want to put 3, but which one we are going to remove, because we don't, program doesn't know the thing that put last, because we are not using a class that stores the creation time or anything. We are not able to see it, but if we know the order of the list, you can remove the last one. I feel like this is a queue. So if we first put 1 and 2, and we are on the limit, so we cannot put 3, but we want to. So the length is equals to 2. Then we are going to remove the, I don't know the verb of it. For example, in queue there is a pop and push, but in queue it was different. You are going to remove the first one. Did you put which
For Q, it
first
is
start is
NQ.
what?
For Q, it is NQ and DQ. So
Aynen,
if
NQ and DQ. You are going to DQ the first one, and you are going to put the 3. So you are going to have 2 and 3. If you want to get 1, you are going to return the integer going to return -1. So this is a queue problem. I feel like this is queue. I'm going to use a queue list, which consists of 2. I cannot put any more than 2. If it's on the limit, I'm going to remove and I'm going to DQ for once the cache,
yeah,
and
what
I'm
which
going to
one?
put
How are you going to decide which one needs to be removed from Q?
I believe if I call the DQ, it's going to remove, and it's going to put after that I will have the I know the I already DQ the first one.
If you call DQ, it is going to remove the first item from your queue.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which this one?
is the
It's,
yeah, but it could have been different. So
it
for
can't be.
example,
We put it
so
first this.
yeah, okay, we put one first and then the
Okay.
second, and we get one. So it is used recently. When I tried,
Okay.
yeah,
It will count.
when I try to put 3, it shouldn't remove 1. It should just remove 2. It's because 1 is used recently. We are looking for
Okay.
least recently. So if you just DQ, it is going to remove 1, no matter.
Okay, we can do this. We can put new behavior on top of the function. Like if you call any put or get function, we are going to DQ and Q it. For example, we put 1 and 2, and we we called put twice the put function, and uh, when we call put, we are not going to do. We are only going to Q. We are only going to use Q function. But if we call the get, um, we are going to uh, we are going to
if let's imagine you got 10 items in your queue, 1, 2, 3, from 1 to 10, right? So all put it. So when you call, let's say you call get 3, so you get the third item. And as your as your capacity is 10, now you're trying to insert or put 11. Which one needs to leave? Which one needs to go from your list? In that case, the first one can go. It's because you use 3 only, right? Let's imagine you put all 10 and you called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but you didn't call 10.
10, yeah.
So you get all of those. So those 10 basically recently used. And now you're trying to add 11. Which one needs to remove?
10. 10 will be removed, DQ'd, and 11 will be put in the 10th position.
So whatever you are going to evict can be the first item, the last item, or any item exactly, right? So it depends when you use it. So you need to somehow mark the data that you get as, okay, this is used. And you keep that data updated.
I have a question.
Yep.
Okay. The cache is the answer is here. It was the order was the first one first and second one second. But if we want the first, what is the value of the first position? We will get the value of the first position, but we are going to change the order. Actually, it changed.
Yeah, this was a clue. This was a clue. So
Yeah,
if you put it in the last, that means you are keeping the least frequently used, least recently used data in the first, so you can remove it later.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I guess I understood it. I understood the assignment. I'm going to write 2 functions under the class. One is put, one is get. Input only we are going to dequeue the first in, and we are going to queue the value. For example, 2 to 2. In the last position, last index.
If you're gonna use queue, you need to be careful. It's because when you dequeue anything, it's just going to dequeue the first item. So you need to keep that queue updated. It's because whenever you dequeue, it's always gonna go the first item, but the first item might not be that you want to be deleted. Just be careful about this. And you better start coding though.
Okay. How many times do I have?
Probably 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
You can get rid of this using blog though. The first line.
Okay.
It's benchmark.net.
Okay. Can I declare new variables under the class?
Yeah. You can create your own class. It doesn't have to be a large cache. I'm just going to ask you zoom it a bit so we can read it, and you might just want to full screen or as well. It doesn't matter though.
Okay.
A bit more, please.
Like this?
That's perfect.
You said Q was a bit tricky, so I'm not going to
I didn't say it is tricky. I said just be careful if you're going to use Q.
I can use only list. Which dictionary? I can use dictionary.
All right.
Dictionary which. Yeah, I will use. We will call it cache.
All right, this is going to be your key and value.
And we call it like this. Okay. I will first write the get method. In get method, no, I will first write put. Oh, I'm sorry. We will insert a new value. And
If it's not presented already.
so we have limited place in list, right? So we can only put two items to the list.
Yeah, it is passed as constructor parameter,
Okay.
as capacity.
Uh,
In line 16, the capacity is there. You can use it.
Okay.
So you're just going to add it into your list.
Yes.
If it hasn't reached the capacity.
What is key and key value?
Yeah.
But we are going to put the condition if cache.
Count.
And I'm going to test. If it's equals to 2, this is the easy one. We are only going to insert it. If there is a 2 item, I'm going to remove the first item of the cache list. I don't remember the exact.
Remove
No,
works.
actually it says it. Remove the value of the specific keyword. But the index is 1, right now. I believe this is the index, which is the first position. Is it 0? I can't remember.
It is asking for key.
Key. Oh, okay.
So you can call remove at function. I assume it should have remove at or something. Does it have remove? Doesn't have. Let's assume remove at function is there.
Oh, there's okay.
And yeah, you
and this is the
0.
index. This is the first index of the list. And let's say, and I will put cache of the add.
No. Are you just going to add it at last? Then you can call add. But if you can, I don't know, you can call insert function. Or
yes, insert.
It doesn't have insert probably, but let's assume it has.
Yeah. Now I will insert the key and value to the dictionary.
You can. So if you're going to call insert, you need to specify at what index it needs to be inserted. If you call add, it is going to add it at last, which works for you.
Yeah, it's work for you, and I know the length of the.
So you don't. If it is going to be added at the last element in the queue, cache, you can basically call cache add function. It does the same. Instead of insert, just add. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
we will put the key and value to the last. Yeah,
you remove the first item and then add the new one into the. So how?
The list.
Okay, how are you gonna manage to keep the first item is least recently used?
So yeah, input function, the order is not going to change. But if you call the get function, the order is going to be changed. For this case, there is only two variable for our list. So the two number is a bit different than 3 or 4 because we can, reverse the list, and we can then we can solve the problem. For example, for this case, we call the first, which it was the last one, last recently used. But when we call the get, we first we did the reverse the list, and we call the one key of one.
What it could have been different. Let's say we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 elements, and we called get 5 or get 6. So it is not reverse. It is not the last item, or it is not the first item. So you cannot reverse the list.
Then I will say we can look the position in the list. So let's say you are going to call 2 here, and we are okay, I see your point. If you call C, if we reverse the list, we are going to remove the 2, which it was recently used, and we shouldn't remove it. So if 1 is not on the list, we are going to put the last position, and the last will be replaced with key of 1, value of 1. So let's say cache, position last. Let's say cache.
You can just say cache.count. It is going to give you how many elements you have.
If we use Q, I shouldn't be worried about this, I guess, because I will dequeue it and put it to the last place. If I dequeue the 2 from here and put it again, queue to the cache.
Maybe you should 2 different objects. One is for cache, one is for whichever recently used.
Okay.
That would have been easier to manage.
Recently used.
What object are you gonna use to just
I'm thinking of what object. I can create a class.
Let's say list.
Let's say list. Okay.
List integer would be your recently used keys, right? So you can store your used key in over here in that list. So now you need to find out which one is used and add this item into the list. So if someone calls get function, and if it finds the key, right? So that means the key is used. So you can add it into your list.
Yok, ben devam ediyorum.
If you found the key in your cache, that means you're returning it to user, which means it is used, right?
Find method. No. So if you find the key,
all right,
we are going to put the list that what was it recently used. this is recently used.
Yeah.
After
But
that,
yeah, you edit it. And what if so the recently used list should be in order, right? So this list should be ordered. So maybe you can keep the first item in that list recently used or least recently used. So if we found it, okay, return the value from the cache. If you call cache,
cache.
let's say get value or something, it doesn't matter. Not, you can delete the try part. It's because it's another function. Not try get value, but get value or just bracket. Yeah, it's something like that. It doesn't matter. So if you found it, okay. What are you gonna return if it is not found?
We are going to found value.
No, you already have the condition over there. If you find, then get in. So in else block, you need to return something.
I will return -1.
Yeah. The question says -1.
I guess it was -1. Yes, not found.
Yeah. So let's assume now you're adding something. You're calling the put function. And if you put something,
it is recently used, right? So you put new key.
So every element that you put in, which will be the recently used. So you need to keep your list updated.
Should I remove the last one? I'm not sure about removing things from the recently used list.
At some point you need to remove as well. It's because if I call get or put, you are now adding every item into the list.
Can I say remove all?
Yeah, it would clear the whole list.
Yeah. Going to remove all. I will. But if it is equals to 2, introduced. Okay. I'm not sure if it's done. I feel like it's not done yet.
It's not. It's because you remove all and you added only one. So recently used only have one, but we are going to need at least 2 elements. So as the capacity in that list. Right? Let's say you added 1, 2, and 3. So your recently used should be 2 and 3. But you remove all, you cleared everything and add only 1.
But how do I know the position of the third element that's not recently used? Like we put 1, 2, 3, which one is in this list, the last one. Okay, I'm going to remove the 1, but okay, there is a function that finds the index of the value, I guess. We can.
It has, yeah.
But
if you keep your recently used list in order, you can always remove the first item. It's because it will be the least recently used, the first item. It's because now you're removing the first one, adding it into the last. So the last 2 item is always recently used, but the first item is not. So instead of removing all, you could remove the first item and add it to the last. Did you get what I mean?
I'm having a little bit hard time for for understanding. Uh,
So recently
if
use.
we used Q, very data structure for here, wouldn't be much more easier? I
It would
don't
have
know.
been depending on how you manage this data structure, though. It's because in the queue, you are not able to say remove the first item, remove the
Uh-huh.
second item, remove the third item. It is going, you're going
Uh-huh.
to call the DQ and it is going to give you the first item always. But
Mm.
in list, you are able to find index item, first item, remove the last or whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
That
So,
that would not be easier actually. Let's call it a day
okay.
and let's finish it. And let me give you my feedback. You can just stop sharing. And then after the feedback part, on Discord only, we're going to stop the recording. And on Discord, I'm going to show you my solution. And then we can talk about it. So you would just see how it is, how it can be done, actually. It is not the only way, but it could have been done with the way that I did. Thank you, first of all, for your courage that you have, for the courage that you have, that you'd be volunteered for that interview. Thank you so much again.
No
I
problem.
can, yeah, I can say. How old are you, by the way? I didn't ask.
I'm 23.
23. So
Yes.
you're still at young age.
Thank you.
As a young age, Microsoft, well, was it called
Learn
ambassador?
student. Yeah, ambassador. Yeah.
Learn study
The new name.
ambassador. Congrats, by the way, for it.
Thank you.
As a Microsoft MVP,
I know.
I'm telling you. I've just checked your resume, and I found a couple of broken links. Some of those links wasn't working, especially GitHub project, I guess, one of those. And I see that you've done something in your life, especially on the electronic parts. And now you are also trying to be a backend engineer, backend developer within C# stack, .NET stack. And you are trying something, I can see that. You know the basics of the structures, you're aware of the basic of the general ideas, like how Azure DevOps work, how Azure, I don't know, virtual machines work, how to deploy, and why to deploy. So you are aware of CI/CD pipeline and the whole idea. As we in the backend side, we are using most of those in a daily routine. There are some of things that you need to be experienced with, but the experience comes with working on it. So probably in your life, no one had just asked you to do list recently used cache or some sort of thing. But to be aware of how the eviction functions work on the cache, on Redis or any other caching mechanism is crucial. It's because if you're using a tool, that you need to use it by knowing why. It's because now your senior might say, okay, Harun, use Redis cache and delete every data and re-put it everything. So you should just question why. Is it really faster? Is it more efficient? Maybe it is not efficient. It is not memory safe. It is not easy. But your senior has an idea to do that. So you might just question, why do we do that? Wouldn't it be even faster? We update just the data. So you need to understand how the cache also works. And you might just go even more deeper, just what sort of eviction functions we have and how they work. We call last in, first out, first in, last out, or least recently used, least frequently used, or a couple of ideas as well. So the basic idea of using cache, using Redis, is good for your age. So you still have more time to experience those. But you also need to experience some of those details. Just knowing it by words, just like, I know how Redis works. You put the data and read the data, that's all. It's not actually. Redis is more than just that. Or, I don't know, the other tools. RabbitMQ is really more than just sending a message and receiving a message. It is still more than that. As I just said, you still have time to experience those. and you need to experience a lot of coding skills as well. So this was not a difficult question, not too difficult question. That was not easy though. It's because it is tricky. And there has to be some questions for you to ask. For example, you should ask, if I call put 1, put 2, and put 3, and if my capacity is 2, which 2 of these 3 would be the recently used? It's because you didn't call get. You just add 1, 2, 3. I would expect that you ask this question. It's because when you put something, it means recently used. And in the coding as well, there was a bit kind of clue for you. It's because I was using the list, and then if I call get 1, for example, I was adding it into the last element. So I knew the first element can be deleted. So I was keeping my list updated always. So then I can remove the first item. It's because I know it was the least recently used. And you were good at explaining yourself before doing the question. It's because it is also crucial that you need to have a plan just before start the coding. You need to plan. You can build the plan over there, or you might have it just before. Let's say I ask you DFS question and you had experience on that. And the second I ask you a question, okay, you can say, okay, I can do that. So you had the ideas, but you might just create your plan over there. And it was good that you explained it to me. And it was also good that you are aware some of data structures like queue or stack. So you know that you could use queue. It's because every time you add item, it just add the last. And every time you just dequeue, it just brings the first item or something. That was not the optional solution for that, but it is still that you showed me that you are aware of those data structures, which is super important for a junior developer. So all junior developers must be aware of that data structures. Those are super important. For example, for this interview, it was important. But coding, I can say you're just gonna need a lot of experience. If I was really looking for someone who is junior, but I can just try to teach lots of things, that you would be a good candidate. But if I was looking for some junior that has some ideas and also practical experiences, you would fail probably. I'm not sure. Probably maybe I was just going to, I would be asking my friends as well, saying, okay, this guy is aware of many things, but on the coding part, he was nervous. He was hesitating to do something. Maybe it's because of the speaking English. Maybe you were just nervous because of this. Maybe you were nervous. It's because now, I don't know how many people is just watching you on the Discord. This could be a reason. It is totally understandable. So this would affect how I just decide my final result. But congratulations. Thank you for your effort over here. And let's continue in Turkish, and also let's switch back to Discord channel. But just before we go over there, so if you like those sort of contents, please like the video and put your comment in the comment section. It's because this is my feedback, but you must just agree, or you may agree or disagree with me. You can just, I don't know, I think in that way, you just said this one, but this is wrong. I don't agree with you, or the opposite. You can agree with me and you can just say thanks by just adding your comments under the video. Thank you, Harun, for your courage again, and I will see you next time.